when they go to look for more information or actually need to purchase a physical product, then you're going to be the first person that they go to reach out to because your previous recommendation that was free was perfect for them.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Interact's Grow podcast. So great to be back with you all. I didn't get a chance to listen to last week's episode, but I'm sure you guys carried on without me. I'm your host, Jasmine Solana, and with us today, the whole crew is here. Ladies, welcome.
Hello.
Hello. So today, I actually felt like this would be something cool to start doing. I know we talk a lot about how to optimize your quiz best practices, but today I want to relate it specifically to travel quizzes. I think it's also a great time, like travel's kind of back up and running after the pandemic. I'm sure a lot of people are like itching to get back out there, but also starting their own travel blogs or, figuring out ways to monetize their travel on the go. So what kind of quiz should you make for your travel business? And today I wanted to cover 3 types. So for those of you who are listening, we'll jump into each of these, but basically how you can create a product recommendation quiz, a destination quiz, and a coaching quiz. So I guess we'll run down the list. Anybody want to jump in?
Depends on which one you want to start with, Jasmine.
We can start with any of them, but I guess for organization's sake, let's start with the product recommendation quiz and how we can, I guess, first and foremost, like what that looks like for a travel blogger.
I think with a product recommendation quiz, I mean, there's so many things that are needed for travel. Like we're talking specifically about travel, but products in general, right? There are so many things out there that you can buy that make your life so much easier. So when it comes to travel, like, I mean, I travel all the time, right? So before I go on a trip, especially when I got rid of my apartment and really started like full-time traveling, I didn't have the equipment that was needed to travel around the world. And so to start figuring out what that even was, right? Before I like dove in and, was on the plane, I would Google, and most of the time these blogs would come up or maybe some videos that would tell me about these people who traveled to this certain area of the world that I'm going, or a similar trip that I took, and these were the specific products they used. Or maybe the article wasn't even about the product, but it was all about how they went on this awesome itinerary for the whole day and they couldn't have done it without a backpack. Like, oh my God, backpacks are absolutely required when you're traveling abroad. But when you're doing that, first of all, I realize, I really do need a backpack, right? Like I'm seeing how this product comes into play when you're in your travels, how often you're using it. I can see myself using it. And then I start wondering, okay, well, what's the best backpack that I should buy? Because now I have to go purchase one, right? And so if you had a quiz on the blog that linked to your different affiliate links for these different bags that I could purchase, or whatever the product is that you were talking about or mentioning in this blog that you wrote or content that you were creating, the quiz is a really great way to just put that product with a link to purchase in front of that person very quickly without me having to do a ton more research from other people and things like that on which product I should actually purchase. So that's why I love travel product recommendation quizzes.
All right. I'm thinking to like all those TikToks and reels that I see where they'll say, here's exactly what's in my carry-on bag. Yeah. And I watched the whole video, but I'm like, oh, that's cool. That's not great for me. That's cool. That's not great for me. But if you were to turn something like that into a quiz, even if it wasn't just a backpack, it could be like, okay, everything you would need in a carry-on, right? If you're traveling all over the world, or like the 5 things you need if you travel year round versus like once a year, right? If you're able to pick that out from the people in your audience, then you can effectively give them recommendations and those affiliate links based off of like the personality they get. Like I remember, I forgot where you came back from. I think it was when you went to Mexico, Jackie, and we went to an offsite, all you had was your carry-on. And I was like, I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you bring everything in one little carry-on. And so we're such different travelers, even though we love to travel. So if you have a quiz to really pick those people out in your audience, you'll be able to kind of maximize, okay, these are the products that I'm recommending to the people who only pack a carry-on. They need like basically nothing, but it needs to work for a lot of different things versus somebody who travels infrequently and packs, maybe 2 or 3 suitcases of stuff. But like, how do they travel effectively, and how can you give those people like the right products for them?
Yeah. And I even
Yeah.
imagine packing lists. Those convert, I think, really well because people want to know like what is in that bag. So you can easily give like a packing list download. But with a quiz, you can get really specific with where is this person going? How long are they going for? What are they going to be doing? What's the weather? And then they get a custom, like a curated packing list based on what it is that they're doing. Because yeah, Jess, you're not going to pack off of a packing list that's this short and has absolutely nothing on it. But I'm not going to pack off of a packing list that's this long and requires 3 suitcases.
Don't worry, I don't actually bring 3 suitcases.
Exaggerating for marketing.
But that also makes me think, like, Jasmine, for example, oftentimes you travel with a dog. Like, knowing that about your audience is huge. And then I think about my cousin who has 2 kids under 2. And if she's traveling alone with 2 under 2, you best believe she needs like the best and easiest packable toys or like placemats or things like that that she can use with them. So even just being able to define your audience or segment them that much more makes such a big difference based on what you can recommend to them.
Yeah, that's a great example because at least for me, when I travel with my dog, she's in a carrier, and that counts as one of your carry-ons, or like it counts as your personal item. So when we actually just traveled this last week, I had to put my laptop in like my little roller carry-on, which I hated because it wasn't easy access, right? But if I was able to find somebody could totally market to me products like, oh, here's how to travel with your dog and all your work stuff, like that's what we would need.
Yeah. The other
Do you
thing,
guys consider product recommendation quizzes like also like tour packages or things of that nature that people actually, there's a lot of, I see them on TikTok all the time, like, oh, what's like the right, like you were mentioning, Jackie, the right itinerary for this specific destination? Would you consider that a product recommendation quiz?
well, I was going to say the same thing because when Jesy said, traveling with kids and you're offering, like certain toys that they might want to play with to keep them entertained on the plane, it doesn't necessarily have to be, I didn't think, a physical product, like a toy that that you were bringing, but maybe the recommendation is, hey, this specific airport that you're going to be going to has a kids play area. They can run around, get really tired before the flight and get on, that's still, it's not like a specific product that we're giving them, but it is the right recommendation for them. That is what they need. And I think that will go a long way. Even if your goal is to, push affiliate links and you don't have an affiliate link for this airport PlayStation, that's okay because you're going to build a ton of trust and likability with this customer because you've just tired out their kids before a 5-hour plane ride, right? And so when they go to look for more information or actually need to purchase a physical product, then you're going to be the first person that they go to reach out to because your previous recommendation that was free was perfect for them.
Yeah. I think the reason I ask is because just recently on TikTok, once you go to TikTok rabbit hole, it's sort of hard to get out of. I was considering starting to plan a trip to Disney World next year. But then I was like, oh my God, I'm starting to get overwhelmed, like the flights, the days I should be there, what resort. And so you started obviously on my feed, I started getting these, I don't know what you would call them, travel agents maybe, or people that work for Disney that would book all of these things for you. And so I was thinking of it in an aspect of, oh, which package would I actually want to get? Like, would I want to get resort tickets, dining? Like, that's how my brain was thinking of. Like when we were thinking about product recommendation quizzes, I was thinking of which package am I going to get? So that's another way as well for those listening out there that you can definitely cater to your audience as well.
Damaris, you made a quiz that I made using AI. So one of these requests came through where they were a Disney travel agent. And the quiz, I can't remember the exact titles and whatnot, but essentially the outcomes of the quiz were you need a land package, like go to Disney World. You need a sea package, take a Disney cruise, or you need a combo package. I think it was like the best of both worlds because that's a Disney song. And so in that result, it was you can do a land and sea combination package. And so I think that would be the product recommendation quiz. It's not like the physical park that you're going to, right? Like it's Disneyland versus Disney World versus Paris, but it's like you need the land option versus the sea package versus you want to try try both. I think, without giving too much away for our next quiz result, the destination quiz, I
Yeah.
think when you start getting really specific with the itinerary, then it turns into a destination quiz. What are you doing when you get to that place, as opposed to what are the recommendations that you're looking for? But yeah, places to eat, places to stay, tours that you could take, or maybe not specific tours, but like types of tours, adventure tours versus relaxing tours versus spa tours or whatever, would be the right recommendations that people would need to start buying into this idea of, hey, let me go take this trip because this sounds awesome.
Mhm.
Love it.
Yeah, I feel like there's so much you could do with a destination quiz. When we went to Japan for our honeymoon, it was, oh my God, it was, I think we spent like weeks watching all these YouTube videos of things to do in Japan. And where a quiz would be super helpful is, okay, how do you even like to travel? So my husband and I are, we're big like history people, I guess mostly me, but also food people. So the way we travel is like through food and like actually sightseeing a lot of the historical stuff. If we like, I love to shop, but when it's us two, it's not something that we would do. Whereas like if I were to go with my mom, she wants to see all the really she wants to see all the luxury stores. She wants to like go to the malls and see what's in the malls. Like it's so different where like watching all this content or reading all this content, it was exhausting and having to organize that ourselves. Whereas like if there was somebody who was like, I'm going to give all of this to you, take this quiz, let me know what you like to do. Let me know, like, I think even like age range, right? Like, can you walk like a lot? Because then if you can't, maybe you can't go to a place where you can't go to Europe, for example, right? If you can't walk, or like maybe you specifically need to take a car rather than the train. Maybe Japan's not for you because everything there is the train, for example. That would have been golden.
Yeah.
And you can see, I think that's the difference. The recommendation quiz is like the type of trip that you want to take, but then you can see how it easily moves into a destination quiz, or maybe like your different destination blogs, places that you visited. Okay, now that I know this is you and this is how you like to travel and this is what you might need on your trip, these are the places that you can go do that. Hey, Jasmine's mom, this is where you want to go shopping in the world. Hey, Harry and Jess, this is where you guys want to go see historical sites, right?
Right.
So that's where I think like you can absolutely use all these types of quizzes in your business in different places. But I think that's the link of when you move from a recommendation into a destination quiz, is destination is more specific with like exactly where you're going to be taking this trip, but you would want to know this recommendation preference that people have first, or I guess rather the outcome that they get from the recommendation quiz first, maybe, so that you know where they're even interested in traveling before you start recommending destinations.
Right. I want to say that in my like time here, a lot of the quizzes tend to just be, or destination quizzes are like, where should you travel to next? But I really enjoy the ones that are really specific, like, specific to like your honeymoon, specific to birthday trips, like somebody who just turned 21 versus like, I don't know, 16 or something like that. Like I like the ones that are so like it's for a specific purpose as to why you're traveling, which either could be your whole brand or it could be just the next few I don't know, blogs or vlogs that you're putting out.
I mean, right now I've been seeing a lot of where should you go for your batch party, and things like that. And I'm like, these must be really popular because people seem to go to the same places for bachelorette or bachelor parties, like Vegas, Nashville, Texas, all these same San Diego, Arizona. I'm like, everyone recommends the same exact areas, but it's funny. I'm sure if there's a quiz out there that San Diego or Vegas and things like that are on it.
But that's an interesting one, because part of that is, like how do you plan a trip for like, sometimes people go with like 12 people, versus like maybe 4 people. Like what can you do? How do you make reservations for 12 people, for example? Those are all stuff that you can figure out in a destination quiz, push content to those people specifically for that.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting that you say that, because now that we're like sort of shifting over to destination a little bit, like, it's a lot of the popular places like I live in Vegas. So Vegas, for
Mhm.
example, has, the foodie tours, or what are you looking for? You want to get into drinking, or you want to go do ATVs, or you want to go to the Grand Canyon, or you want to go to the night scene. Like, what exactly are you looking for? And it's interesting because if you're a travel blogger or own some sort of travel business that does tours, or maybe, does, once again, packages, you can sort of ask your audience, like, well, what are you looking for when you go on your Vegas trip? Or what do you like to do for fun? Or, stuff like that. And so I think that's when your audience or whoever is interested in that one thing will then be like, okay, this is actually like really informational. I can really benefit from that and take the stress off of whatever they're trying to plan. And then your business will take on that responsibility. But at that point, you may or may not have established tours or whatever the case is, right? Depends on how far your business is. So it's interesting that you're saying, Jackie, you can move from like product to destination back and
Mhm.
forth very seamlessly depending on what your customers' needs are.
Yeah, because then it makes me think, just going backwards, starting with a destination quiz and then being able to offer your products and affiliate links,
Mhm.
right? There's a lot of travel experts out there who are very, very niche. So they only help you with trips like bachelorette and bachelor parties. They only help with destination weddings. They only help with Disney travel, right? And so if you know that that's the reason that this person is traveling, you can of course ask those different questions in the quiz to really figure out who this person is, what they need. And then the result goes to, okay, you can do all these things that you love to do on your trip here in this destination. And oh, by the way, when I went to Las Vegas for my bachelorette party, here were the three, like, here's the club that you have to hit up. Here's
Mhm.
the brunch spot that you must eat at, right? And then maybe there's something else, like here's the sash, or like the, I don't know, swag pack that we bought our bride, and that could be an affiliate link, right? So you can see how not every single link that you're giving people has to be something that they're purchasing, because that just feels salesy and crummy,
Mhm.
right? But you can see how, like, with these different style quizzes, knowing what you know about somebody up front, it's so easy to put the right link in front of them, so that it's that much easier for them to click on it and take that action, because they're really a hot lead at that point. Like, I'm going on my bachelorette party, I got to get this thing planned, I just don't know where to go, help. And if you're really
Mhm.
helpful in giving that answer, like, why wouldn't they sign up through your links? Why wouldn't they start purchasing through your links?
What would you guys say to someone who has a travel blog or vlog either? They have traveled to so many different places. It's like, how could you just recommend 4?
Ah,
Ooh.
Like, what do you do in
hard.
that situation without having to create, let's say, like without having to create like specifically like a Europe quiz or an Asia quiz or a US quiz? Yeah, like what would you do?
Oh, everybody's talking. Everybody has different opinions on this. I'm curious.
Yeah.
I was about to say that I think I recently made a quiz and I really liked it. And it was something like, what type of vacationer are you? You know,
Mhm.
it kind of went into like, do you like going on hikes? Do you like going like on like river rafting and things like that? Or do you like to relax by the beach with a cocktail in your hand? Or do you want to go like hillside country wine tasting and food tours? And it kind of just made, the result was kind of like what you enjoy doing on vacation. And from there, she named like certain places. Like if you like to be by the beach and relaxing, and you know, then these are some of my favorite places. Like if you're a big foodie, then these. If you like hiking or adventure, then I would recommend these places. But I think definitely goes more back to like a personality style quiz if it's too hard to recommend just one or a couple destinations.
Yeah, I was gonna say the exact same thing. How can you group those different destinations together for similar characteristics? That would be the easiest way, I would think, to do it. Maybe the more complex way would be using branching logic. So like within Interact, you can ask a certain question, and then if someone says hiking versus wineries, the next question they ask is something different. Is there a place in the world that you're really trying to get to? And then maybe you show pictures and the answers of different regions of the world, Europe versus Asia versus the US. Based on what they're clicking from that, it branches them into, okay, you're only going to go to the US based on what else you say. You're only going to get, recommendations in Europe based on the rest of your answers. So branching logic would allow you to get more specific and offering tons of destinations, honestly, if you wanted to, depending on how big you wanted to make your different branches. But that would be another way to do it. But what Jesy was saying, grouping was my first thought as well.
You guys took my thought. That's what I was thinking too. I was like, I made a quiz as well, just as Jesy was saying. I think the quiz was, what type of traveler are you, or something like that. I can't remember the exact quiz title, but it was focused on exactly what you guys are saying, like what you're looking for specifically, and then it sort of gave you a destination. Like as a business or as a travel blogger, your experience is going to be the options that are limited are going to be based off your experience and where you've gone. So it's not everybody's gone all over. So depending on what kind of travel blogger you are, you might just be on, on the specific scene. So it just really depends. But we all thought the same thing. So we must be on the same page.
Another way, just Damaris said that real quick, Jess, another way to group it, I was originally thinking like activity, climate, right? But another way could do it could just be by region. Like, hey, where in the world can you even get to? If you want a staycation versus going abroad, stay in your own country versus, and then the actual destination you're offering isn't necessarily Las Vegas, but it's the United States. Versus Europe. And then within that result, or in those follow-up emails, it's here's specific cities within the US that I've been to that I was able to check all of these fun things off, or do all these fun things, check them off.
I love that. I wanted to follow up with another question that I hope doesn't stump you guys again, but what would you say to people who are like, that's great, guys, but I don't want to create another just generalized where you should travel to? Like, how do you make your quiz stand out with so many, like, the travel blogging industry, I feel like it's hard to enter because there's so many people doing it. It takes like time to actually build sort of that rapport with an audience, and also that credibility, I would say. Like, how do you create a quiz that stands out, that's not just like a generalized, okay, I've been to these places, here's some cool things you could do?
I think you have to tap into your niche, because you're offering your service, your travel service, or whatever your travel offerings are, whatever your business does. You're offering that for a specific reason. So I got an AI request that was, which spiritual safari should you take? So this person didn't just take people on safaris for fun, right? There was a purpose for going on these specific safaris. I would not have signed up through that because I'm not looking for a spiritual safari. I'm looking for an adventurous safari. I don't know, right? I'm just saying this. But that's a way for her quiz to stand out above anyone else's, because I think it was only women. So only women who are spiritually interested in this journey that this coach offered, right, would want to even take that quiz of which spiritual safari they should take. Versus somebody who's not into that, they're not going to want to take your quiz. But that's good for you, because you're not going to get unqualified people on your email list. So I say go back to like, what's your niche? What do you do? Why do you help people do that thing? And make sure your quiz captures that. And I'll just add, if you're using Interact AI and you're submitting a request to us and you want to create a travel quiz, one thing you can do in that form that you're submitting to us is think through your outcomes. So for this safari quiz, right, I think there were 4 different destinations: India, Africa, I can't remember the other 2, but there were 4 different countries that these safaris were in that you could take. And she gave me them. I could have used AI to come up with 4 unique spiritual safaris, but she told me where she takes her people. She has content about those safaris, so that when I get a specific result, she can feed me those I think it was like a gorilla trek, the one in Africa. She could only send that content to me because that's obviously something I'm very interested in. So I would say, especially if you're using the AI form, give us as much information about your business as you can. Oh, my earring just fell out. That was fun. Who are you helping and why, and what is it that you help them with? And if we have that, we can make you a very, very unique and niched quiz based on your business.
Yeah.
I love that, because I've taken so many travel quizzes where it's like, it'll be like, yeah, you like the tropical areas, go to Bali. And it's like, but what if I don't like the bugs?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like what if it's like, I don't like 14-hour plane rides or something,
Mhm.
Anyway, sorry,
Yeah.
Damaris, what were you going to say?
That's a good question. I think I lost my train of thought. But what I was going to say is another way, which I actually enjoy these because I like taking personality style quizzes. Building like personas or characters for your travel people or your audience. Like what character are you in your travel destiny? I don't know, something fun that would sort of catch your people's attention, and sort of, if there's like certain people or celebrities or really well-known travel bloggers or really well-known adventurers out there that people can relate to, you can sort of make a persona out of that, and then make that persona a certain destination and things, or and recommend things like that. I think those are fun, and I enjoy them because I just like to know who I relate to. So, that's another idea. I think that's what I was going to say, just to make it fun and nichey. But it really does all come down to what's your niche? What are you really good at? What are you really trying to tell your customers, and sort of like expand from that.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. Just niche down, and like, for example, instead of like, where should you travel to next on a budget? Like, if you can make a quiz that's where should you travel to next for under $1,000, or things like that. Like little things that make me think like, oh, I'm going to click that. Like, where can I go for 5 days on vacation for under $1,000? Like whatever you can to make it more specific and more like enticing to click, the better.
I was just
I
thinking of
literally just
like,
thought of, I'm broke. I want to travel. Where should I go?
Yeah,
When you said that, Jesy.
yeah, exactly.
that's funny. I
I
was
was
Maybe
thinking the
thinking
use
the
a quiz.
opposite. I was thinking of like, how can you like romanticize your life and like come up with this like really, when you're talking about characterizing Damaris, like making someone the main character of the quiz, and this is the type of trip they
Yeah.
should take.
And I was thinking there's all those crazy shows of like the food shows on TV. And so foodie trips is definitely a niche. So like there's Anthony Bourdain, R.I.P., but who's the other guy? Andrew Zimmerman, Bizarre Foods. So like that's a very specialized trip, but also like very cool to be related to a celebrity in that way of like, oh my God, I travel like Anthony Bourdain. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I love
That's true.
that. I love that. Okay. I feel like that was good in terms of, I know we could talk about travel quizzes, specifically destination ones, for days, but I do want to make sure we touch on this last one for those people who are now transitioning their travel blogs into a coaching business. So creating a coaching quiz, but specifically for people who are trying to travel the world. Like what kind of quizzes should they make? Because they can't make where should you travel to next. I guess you could,
Yeah.
but you shouldn't.
Well, I think that's like the true shift, right? When you start going, when you've already done the traveling, and then you've done the blogging, and then you've done the videos, and you have all of the content, and you have a following at this point. Like, you have people that truly follow you and truly believe in what you do, you can then turn that into a coaching business. It's like, okay, so I have all of these people that are following me and keep asking me about all these travel recommendations and where to go. And you can literally have all of that content and then create that into a coaching quiz, or or what they're trying to learn. So it's like almost like gathering data that you've gathered for years or however long you've done it, and then turning that into, what type of coaching services, or what do I want to teach my audience now from everything that I've learned, and what are the questions that my audience keep asking me about, and what do they want to know, what do they want to learn. And that's really how you start developing and transitioning into coaching. I don't know if anybody else has anything they want to add, but that's sort of like,
No, I
that's
love that.
very high level.
I was thinking back to like niching down, but just in a different way.
Totally. Yeah. What is it that your audience wants to know about blogging? That's your quiz topic for sure.
Like, is it monetization? Are they like instead of creating a product recommendation quiz, it would be like teaching them how to recommend products. right? Like how to make those brand deals or how to set up your business so that you're not paying thousands of dollars on 20 different bags that you're reviewing, right? Like stuff like that.
Maybe it's a quiz to like help them find their niche, or maybe it's a quiz to help put them in one of your offerings, right? Like maybe you offer 3 different courses, one for beginner, one for finding your niche, and one for SEO, somebody who's like starting to create more and more content. That quiz will put the person in the bucket based on where they're at and the goal that they, or I guess rather the action that they need to do next based on their goal. And your quiz is going to be so helpful to them, just like these other travel quizzes, because they're trying to grow a business, specifically a travel business, which you've already done. They're really going to like the content that you're giving them because it's specific based on what they need. So they're going to want to follow you to take those offerings up because they match so well with what they're trying to do. Especially if those people started traveling from your blogs, right? Like they followed you as a traveler, turned into a traveler themselves, and now want to follow you even more to learn how to do what you've been doing this whole time, make money while they're traveling.
Right.
Yeah. Which reminds me of what you were saying, Jackie, the spiritual safari business that you were talking about. Maybe they started off as a travel person, a travel blogger, and then they just became known for their spirituality and known for taking those sort of trips. And then it turned into, okay, let me coach people how I did this. Let me take them with me, you know, like it just, they're very niche. That's a very niche business. And so it's interesting to see the evolution of some of the businesses we see out there.
Yeah.
Right. I like that. There's like a difference between like teaching someone, like coaching someone to having a coaching business, but also coaching someone on how to travel. If that makes sense. Like, it's
and
a
it
little
all depends
different.
on what does your ideal customer want to do. You want your quiz to match that so that they'll do it. They'll want to take your quiz and they'll learn more.
Jackie,
Right.
I mean, I'm kind of curious because you spent a lot of last year traveling everywhere. You were kind of like a digital nomad. I mean, you weren't trying to build passive income through traveling. You're just doing it for enjoyment. But I'm sure when you planned your itineraries, you had to like look up travel blogs all the time for where to travel to, where you can even like work while traveling and things like that. Did you come across like anything that you found super helpful?
Jesy, I should have made a list of everything I typed into Google while I was planning for these
Love
travels.
that.
Because honestly, like the things that you think about and the things that you have to search can be so incredibly different. I'm messing up today. My light just went off. My earring came out. Sorry, everyone, but the light's dead. But it could be anything from which products do I need to like set out on this adventure of. And when I left my apartment not knowing when we were coming back, right? So I didn't even know what to ask. Kind of, I was just like, well, if I need it, I guess I can buy it wherever I'm out there in the world. But then there's also things like, what do I do with my apartment? Yeah, but like, what do I do with my apartment now that it's gone? How do I sell all my stuff to make the most money? Like, those are such different questions, but all things that I had to know in order to do this.
Yeah. So many little pieces go into travel. It's like mind blowing. I feel like it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
I'm also thinking.
Yeah, go
I was
ahead.
gonna say, like, also, Jackie, how you had to buy all of the video equipment, and you were like, it was supposed to be quote unquote travel. What's the word I'm thinking of? Like, it was travel
Friendly?
ready. Yeah, like travel. Thank you. Travel friendly, and they were not.
Transportable.
Your whole carry on.
It's just fun. It's just fun.
That's so funny.
But yeah. I was
Go
just going to say, Jess, like, think about your audience and what they have to do, like, their next step. Where are they at? Are they in this phase of, like, I'm ready to set out on this adventure and I need to get rid of all my stuff? Or are they in this phase of, like, I've never gotten on an airplane before and I'm 60 years old and I want to see the ocean before I die, you know? Like, you really have to think about, and this goes for anybody, no matter what industry you're in when you're making a quiz, really think about what is it that your people need? What are they doing right now? What are they going to type into Google? Have your quiz align with that so they can find it online and get the answers so much more easily than reading thousands of blogs to try to find what they're looking for.
Right. I think what's cool about the travel industry specifically too is if you niche down, it's actually better for you because they're more likely to read your stuff for that specific thing, even if they're also looking at someone else's travel blog. right? Like they could be looking to you for destinations and somebody else for like, well, what do I put in my carry-on? There's just like so much opportunity there rather than.
And that goes back to partnerships. How can you partner with people who have like similar offers or tangential offers to yours that are compatible, that work really well together?
I was just going to say that, Jackie. I was going to say, for those businesses out there that are scared to like niche down because they're might be potentially scared to lose business, or they don't really know what risk they're going to be taking if they niche down. Going back to what Jackie was saying, partnerships, like maybe there's something that you're really good at and you can partner with somebody else and sort of like hand off, for the sake of a better word, business off to each other and work together. I think that over time can be very helpful. So
I want to close out with one last thought that we already mentioned in the middle of the episode, but just so people get that refresher. If they want to request a travel quiz through Interact AI, what information do you think they should give us in order to get that perfect travel quiz?
Yeah, well, I think apart from if you have a website, definitely let us know what website you have. But what do you want? What do you envision your quiz to look like? Like, do you have any destinations that you are offering? Are you more on the coaching side, just as we were talking today? Are you more on the packaging side, product based? Really think about the overall idea of what you're looking for. The more information, just as Jackie said, that you give us in this forum, the better job we can do for you guys.
Yeah, I think to say it most simply, when you're filling out the form, we ask you if you have a preferred quiz title. If you could drop your audience's number one biggest question in that title spot, that would be really helpful. And then it will also ask you if you have any desired outcomes that you want to give. So after somebody takes the quiz, which results will they get? And if it's specific products or tours or offers that you have, just drop the name of the offer in the outcome box. We'll have your website. We can look it up. We can have AI get more information and write the right words about it. But the topic and the outcomes that you're like, or I guess like products or destinations or coaching offerings, whatever type of quiz you're looking to make, would be the most helpful for us. And we will get you back the most customized and probably the best quiz that we can possibly make you without talking to you live.
Love it. And you guys can go, we're going to link to Interact AI in the show notes, but you could go to ai.tryinteract.com, fill out that information, and then wait for one of us to reach out with your quiz.
And then let us take it, because we love travel quizzes.
If there's anything Interact loves, it's to travel. All of us.
And take quizzes. We should do our Slacks. We're like, have you seen this one? What's everybody else getting?
Right.
So true.
Well, guys, thank you so much for your insight today. And for those of you who are listening to us, let us know if you have any questions, comments, or feedback. You could always email us at hello@tryinteract.com. And we'll see you next time. Bye.